Defaults are the enemy. You already know what bantime, findtime, and maxretry do. Today we tune them, because 10 minutes, 5 attempts, is a value that fits every server and therefore fits none of them. Across this lesson, we'll see how the three numbers behave as one system, watch the same attack play out under three different configs, introduce exponential ban time to punish repeat offenders, and finish with per-service recipes, because SSH, web, and mail don't deserve the same treatment. Before we touch a single value, lock this formula into your head. If an IP hits at least max retry times within find time, it gets banned for ban time. That's the whole engine. The mistake most people make is tuning these in isolation, lowering max retry without thinking about find time, or extending ban time without a cleanup strategy. Each knob has a direction and a cost. Lower max retry buys aggression at the price of false positives. Raise find time to catch slow scanners but pay in memory. Raise ban time to wear down botnets but watch your SQLite database grow forever. So let's watch those trade-offs play out. Same botnet, 8 SSH attempts, 3 servers. The default config bans at attempt 5, but 10 minutes later the gate reopens. The bot just cycles through, getting 5 free guesses every hour, forever. The loose config. Max retry of 10 means the 8th attempt never trips the wire, and once find time resets, the counter zeroes out. No ban, ever. The tuned config bans on the 3rd strike and holds it for 24 hours, long enough that by the time the IP is free, the botnet has moved on. Same numbers, same engine, completely different security posture. But here's the thing. Attackers read the same docs you do. The smart ones throttle. 1 attempt every 15 minutes, well outside your 10-minute find time window. Each hit lands alone, the counter resets to 0 before the next one arrives, and max retry is never reached. You get 0 bans on an attack that's clearly happening. 2 fixes. Stretch find time to an hour so those slow hits accumulate, or enable bantime.increment so every repeat offense costs them exponentially more time. We'll unpack the second one next. So here's how exponential bantime actually works. 3 lines in your default section. Flip bantime.increment to true, set a factor of 2, and cap it with max time so things don't spiral forever. The formula is just bantime times factor to the n-1, where n is how many times that specific IP has been banned before. Look at the escalation. First offense gets an hour. By the 8th, they're sitting out 128. Persistent attackers price themselves out. Let's look at the 4 flags that actually drive that escalation. Increment is the master switch. Leave it off and the rest are dead config. Factor controls how steep the curve gets. 2 for SSH, where you want attackers gone fast. 1.5 for web apps where real users fat finger passwords. Max time is your safety net and you always set it. A week is sane, 30 days is aggressive. Ren time is the optional one. A few minutes of jitter to break up botnets retrying in lockstep. Now let's get concrete. If you're running key-based SSH, max retry is 1. There's no legitimate reason for a password attempt, so ban on site for 24 hours. Password SSH gets 3 tries, same ban window. Web apps loosen up. WordPress at 5. Apache flood detection at 10 in 1 minute because scanners burn through 404s. Mail is unforgiving. Postfix SASL at 3, day-long ban. And Recidive sits on top, watching for repeat offenders across every other jail and locking them out for a full week. Now, before you go tightening the screws, 3 traps every beginner walks into. First, max retry equals 1. Sounds hardcore, but you'll ban legitimate users whose phones drop a TLS handshake mid-auth. Reserve that only for key-only SSH. Second, ban time equals -1. 6 months later, your SQLite database is 4 gigs and you've blacklisted residential IP space in 3 countries. Use bantime.increment with a 1-week ceiling instead. Third, find time equals 1 day. Your daemon now hoards 100,000 IPs in RAM. Don't widen the window. Layer a recidive jail on top. So how do you actually do this without bricking your own access? 1 week, 4 steps. Day 1. Whitelist yourself, your office, your home, your bastion, because you cannot tune a system you might lock yourself out of. Day 2 and 3, run defaults and just watch the log. Learn what your server actually attracts before you touch a single value. Day 4 and 5, tune one service at a time, SSHD first, observe for 24 hours, then move on. Day 6 and 7, flip on bantime.increment and let exponential backoff start punishing the repeat offenders. Now, before you push any of this to production, you verify. 3 commands every single time you touch jail.local. First, Fail2ban client -t. Does the daemon even parse your file? Then Fail2ban client get for bantime, findtime, and maxretry, because the file on disk and the values the daemon actually holds in memory are not the same thing. Only after those match what you intended do you reload. That get command is the only source of truth. Trust it over your editor. So, here's where you are now. 6 concrete skills. You can reason about maxretry, findtime, and bantime as one system. You can pick values per service instead of inheriting defaults. You can turn on exponential backoff without leaving escalation unbounded. You can spot the 3 anti-patterns on site, verify before reload, and follow a 7-day loop instead of tuning everything at once. That's the difference between running Fail2ban and running yours. Numbers tuned. But one jail tuned well isn't a hardened server. It's a hardened front door on a house with 5 other entrances. Next lesson, we wire up SSH, web, mail, FTP, and the recidive metajail so they actually work as a system. Same philosophy, bigger surface. See you in lesson 06.